Welcome back. See, those guitar lessons have paid off.
Yeah.
3 chords. I got 3 chords. I am getting better. You know, I worked hard at this. Thank you, TJ, for spotlighting my achievements. Actually, the only achievement I have now that's really kind of the extracurricular like that is I do that program. I don't know if you do it, Calvin, called Duolingo, the language program. I have done it for 422 straight days. And I'm trying to learn French. And the only reason I chose French was because I had a little bit of high school French. So I knew a few words and I knew how to sing that one song, the Voulez-vous coucher batas ce soir song. And so that was the limit of it. But now I'm getting pretty good. I think the last stat shows I knew 435 words. So I'm getting there. I can find the bathroom. So I'm almost ready to travel.
Yeah.
Almost. Almost ready. So I'm getting there. But anyway, do you do any of that stuff, Calvin?
I don't. I've always said that I wanted to go back and learn Spanish. Similar to you, took it when I was younger and forgot most of the things I learned. I wish I would have stuck with it.
Yeah. There was a woman that worked for me. I took German in the 4th grade. And there was a woman that worked for me that was dating a young German fellow, and she was about to meet his parents for the very first time. So I said, listen, I am going to tell you what to say to them when you meet them so that you really impress them. I said, what you want to say is, Guten Tag, ich habe ein. Now remember, I took this in the 4th grade. Guten Tag, ich habe ein. So she practiced it with me all week. Guten Tag, ich habe ein. So the weekend came, she went to meet them, she greeted them, just like I said. That Monday when she came back, she walked into my office and hit me. Because what I said for her, what I told her to say was, hello, I have an egg. So that's all I knew. So, I mean, she thought it was like the greatest thing. She practiced it all week, and I could imagine the look on their face. She did end up marrying the guy, but anyway.
It worked out.
It did. It did. All right. So due diligence is a way, Calvin, for deals to go bad.
Right. So what we've seen with due diligence, and let me step back a little bit. Due diligence is money that people put down when they go under contract. That gives them time to investigate the property, see if there are any issues with it. And we've seen the due diligence value in dollars go down a lot. And what that's changed with contracts, we're seeing a lot more of them terminate during the due diligence period because the buyers are doing their homework on the property and they're finding issues with it, and they're just backing out of the transaction. A year ago, 6 months, when these amounts were 50,000 plus, it didn't matter what the condition of the property was. They were moving forward with that transaction. So we've seen a lot of transactions terminate during that due diligence period here lately.
Yeah, it's I expect those times will return when rates, as Sandy was saying earlier, when we see the rates in the 5s, or if they touch even the 4s, it's going to heat this market up. So
I agree. And you referenced earlier that with your open houses, the amount of people you were having come through is just a little blip in interest rate. We saw that with the contracts that we have coming in this week versus a week or 2 ago. It's getting a lot faster already.
Yeah, January is really a good month of statistics, and now February we're seeing a good amount of activity. So I'm excited about that. So tell me about encroachments and title defects. As we have a diminishing inventory, we have older properties.
Right. So the big thing that we try to drive home with all purchases, especially in single family properties, is to get a survey. Both in old properties, we see a lot of issues where there's encroaching driveways, fences, etc. But also with new construction, where there was a missed setback, or the builder didn't properly verify setbacks, and they built the house over where it should be. And this could be a major issue, and ultimately the property could be forced to be removed if it doesn't comply with all the setbacks on the property. So we always recommend it on the single family homes. If you're in a condo or something like that, a townhome, there's a lot of common areas, so it's less important. But I would recommend it for sure in a single family townhome. I would also recommend it condo, you can get away with.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that recommendation because you just don't know what would show up, right? It's kind of like a title search, but of the dirt.
Exactly right. We're doing the public record search, but the surveys, that physical inspection of the property to see where everything actually sits on the land.
Hmm. Now, also, Calvin, you mentioned here judgments and liens. What can agents do to locate these up front?
So, I mean, this is going back to the listing appointments, the conversations that you're having with your clients, and there's always that assumption that the client's telling 100% the truth, which may or may not be the case. They can forget about tax liens, things like that.
Uh-huh.
But it's always important to ask, what's your marital status? Are you married, separated, divorced? Kind of asking some probing questions there just to make sure you know who all owns this property. Have either of you ever been sued? Do you have any judgments out there? Are there any judgments coming down the line? They can be from credit card companies. They can be from car accidents or the hospital bills. Those are common ones that we see. Equity lines, we talked about them a little bit earlier and how they can be difficult. So it's just asking these questions up front. But another thing that we do with a lot of the agents we work with is if they think there may be an issue coming down the line, as they're getting ready to list the property, they'll reach out and have us run a title search on the property up front. So we can find those problems. That way, we're not surprised, agents aren't surprised, and we can start to work through those problems together. A lot of times when we do that, both sides of the transaction would like to close the transaction with our firm. But if not, we'd simply bill the seller for that title search when they do close on the property. But it'll allow them to get to the closing table and work through all those problems in a timely manner, and not delay the transaction or even terminate a transaction.
Yeah, that's really wise, especially when you're dealing with something that is even a foreclosure, right, at the courthouse steps. It's no problem with calling up Norwood, Armstrong, and Stokes and saying, hey, can you run a quick title search to see if there's any pending tax liens or things that would transfer with a property on this deal?
Absolutely, we're happy to do it. We have two full-time in-house title abstractors, so we can move quickly on that and make the transaction just all around smoother for you, or also let you know maybe this is one to stay away from.
Right. So if somebody has an interest, Calvin, in talking with you or a member of your firm about a particular piece of property, whether there's an encroachment, whether they're concerned that there might be an old judgment on their property, whether they're concerned about any of the things you discussed today, or just want to learn more about what they need to do to make sure that old home equity line is cleared from their property, what do they do?
Just give us a call. They can reach us at 704-529-1100, and we'd be happy to talk through any of those issues.
529-1100, Calvin Armstrong, Norwood, Armstrong, and Stokes. Thank you, Calvin. That was very informative today, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, if you're interested in real estate, you're seeing what we're seeing, which is rents are on the way up. Opportunity continues to knock. Oh, that's the name of a book. See what I just did there? And you're wanting to talk more about that, or you've got a home you're ready to sell and move up or move down or move to Florida, or you know, just upset with the results of the Super Bowl and want to go to Canada. Whatever the case may be, we're here So you can call us at 846-DONE, 846-3663, or on the web at myjamisonhomes.com. Remember, you don't always have to sell that home with that low interest rate. You can rent it and make it an investment. God bless you all. Have a great Saturday. We'll talk to you next week to show your real estate today here on News Talk 1110 99.3 WBT. Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.